1 second, let's see if everything is working correctly. I think I just have to... Oh, okay. Now... Oh, yeah. So many tabs opened, and this ain't good. Because I really have to find the one with the playlist. With music. With some good music for the background. Jesus Christ, how many tabs opened? Ah. This one. Okay. 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 And we're ready to go. So if I take a look at the last things that I worked on is actually I added like a little glow. Little flamey glow to the logo. I wanted to do that. I also wanted to make like... Oh Jesus Christ, I just have to turn on the air conditioner, it's killing me. Be right back. There we go. So what I worked on weekend, again a little bit of improvements instead of content. So I wanted to add like this highlight around the flames. It's not very visible here in the main menu, I mean in the starting menu, but if I go to the game itself and if I press escape, you can see it. It's a bit wobbly effect behind it, so the logo isn't so static anymore. Then what I wanted to do is also apply some tweening to it, like moving slowly up and down, you know, so it gives it a bit more life. Then the second thing that I wanted to add is like, you know, last week what we implemented is actually that when you level up, that in inventory everything gets highlighted a bit more. Now I wanted to do some of those things for the tutorial itself. Just a second. There we go, nice shot. I wanna show you the level up. Just an excuse for playing the game, you know. I got these guys. Easy peasy. Starting rune now comes in here. Look at that. Boom! Shakalaka. Okay. So that's okay. See this? This highlight. I was thinking about creating an interface and then adding the ability to highlight something. So in the tutorial itself, I want to highlight like, you know, the tree. When you have to go and destroy it, destroy the tree. Then when you have to go to craft something, I'm gonna highlight, you know, the anvil itself. And then this. Or maybe I'm gonna confuse the player a bit more. I don't know. Just trying to do these things. But. Let's see, what do we have here? Highlight flash material, okay. Item glow, that's okay. Material conflict. Player profile. Nothing in particular here. The HUD controller, I didn't change anything specifically. I only added like the second version of the logo, which is a background. And that second version has like applied shader on it. And this isn't working for an unknown reason. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to HUD controller and I'm gonna uncomment this for now. But if I go a bit further and check the implementation of iHighlight, this is being used by destroyable. These last props are the ones that are needed. Now if I take the look at the structure of a destroyable, for example, of a crate, probably this one's gonna be okay. It has a sprite, but I'm not sure if every destroyable has a sprite itself. Probably. Sprite materials and sprite 2D. Okay. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say sprite 2D material equals to global game controller config material highlight. This one. And if I disable highlight, 1 second. I wonder if I store somewhere default. I don't. Okay, so I'm gonna return it to null. Or, if I take a look at it a bit closer, the sprite itself doesn't have anything applied, so that's okay. That's okay. I just wonder one thing. If I would apply like a material here, yeah, nothing will happen. Because it has to be on sprite, definitely. Yeah. See, now, this is how I want to say to the player, okay, you have to interact with this and with that and so on. And we go to disable highlight, and we say null. That's good. Okay. Now triggering these things, because this is heavily related to tutorial itself. I know that somewhere here I have quests. It would be awesome if I could remember. Creator quest scripts resources. This one. Dash, run, destroy, and collect. 4 things. Dash is okay, run is okay, then collect has to happen. Now what will be the best pattern to highlight these materials that you have to use? I'd have to have like the reference to that. Huh. And collect quest. If I go to crafting big leafy tree. There would be a possibility that I would add like metadata to something like that. One second. So if I'm trying in the tutorial, what would be the best pattern? Certain scenes. I'm thinking about the event, but I wonder if I could get somehow. Yo, then the subscriptions would have to happen and so on, and then too many things could subscribe to those things. I don't like that. How do I make this nice and reactive and scalable? I mean, if I have all the resources available already in the scene, it's not that big of a problem, but spawning certain things at certain times. So the cleanest approach is to separate the tutorial from the object. So yeah, I have that. Exactly. Yeah. Like a registry with dictionary. Possibility. Highlight service, highlight overlay. I don't have that problem here yet. Example, if I spawn a new node. Sorry about being so quiet, I'm reading stuff. What would be the good scalable pattern for this? Now there's a possibility that I would have like a tutorial highlight node that would register itself and so on, but that's just like, I don't know, feels off. And I was thinking about maybe using like events. But then that means that all of those components have to be like, subscribing to that, and that sucks. Oh, by the way, Steam summer sale. I'm selling some of my cards, or how should I say it? Because they're like deep discounts on certain cool titles. I'm not sure if you guys played it, but for research purposes I was thinking about affording myself Barony. Listing. It's like an older game, but yeah. Seems interesting. I didn't know that this was actually multiplayer and so on. Probably multiplayer experience is better. Just want to see how the loop is made. One of the things that I can't really say disappointed, but I expected probably a bit more. Didn't really know what to expect, is the loop hero. I don't know. Everything seems so polished, so well. You know, the art style and stuff, but just for some reason it just doesn't sit well with me. Because the enemies are always scaling, you're always like scaling, you know. I don't know. It felt a bit weird. But I played it for a couple of hours. Tutorial manager advances tutorial step. Highlight manager sets highlight. Use material overlay, not a custom outline per object. Oh, this is now also heavily discounted. Okay. What would be the most naive way to implement this? First thing, how I went with it was actually this eye highlight interface. where I had enable highlight and disable highlight. But that means that on every single one of them I would have to subscribe somehow to it. Now, this kind of sucks. But if I would have a highlight manager or something, I could have like an exported node somewhere. I could already make the references. I mean, it would only probably happen in the tutorial itself. I wouldn't be highlighting it so much, so I'm not sure why am I complicating. Probably I shouldn't. I could just simply say highlight controller. Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna keep it simple. Let's see, I have controllers here. If I add a new one, highlight controller. Let's see one that I have, for example. I don't know, pathfinding controller. It's from Node 2D. I don't really care about that. But I could, for example, say that I'm gonna have a dictionary. I think that I'm gonna need go.collections dictionary. Here I would say string name. So what thing do I want to highlight? And probably no 2D. And I call this one or registry, like this, node registry. This could be good. And then on the ready, override like this. Of course, I always take the reference to the global. And before I repeat myself too many times, I'm just gonna kind of get this one. That's good. Okay. Public. You know what? Subscribe to events. I have this somewhere here. Private. Private void. Now the thing that's bothering me is that the dictionary, you know, you can only have like one unique key, which ain't bad. But I wonder, what if I want to highlight like multiple things of the same type? That string name doesn't, then it... Oh, maybe. Okay, let's say, for example, here I know that I would have to subscribe to events. That's one thing, and then the other thing would be that I would unsubscribe on exit 3 before I forget that. The data structure. Because if I have everything pre-spawned and I drag and drop the references in there, that's gonna be okay. I mean, I can add like, yeah, I could say, for example, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. That's gonna be okay. It should kind of work. But the thing that I have here, which is a bit confusing, is not 2D. That can be exposed, but I don't believe I could expose the interface like I highlight. But I could have like a function which is public, and I would say highlight, and string name would be the ID. And here I check this thing out. If node registry, come on, node registry. I mean, try get value, and I pass in the key. Is the key ID? Okay, and then the function has to be like out, right? Out. Like this. And node is I highlightable or something like that, is I highlight. I think this is the correct way to check it, but I wonder. Okay, I'm gonna name it highlightable node. What if I do the false check here? And or statement, I could simply return. But I think that highlightable node is available here. Yes, because it came out. I always have issues understanding this out to which scope it belongs, you know. Because I was always kind of anticipating that now I could use it only inside of the brackets here. But that's not true. But here we could say highlight or enable. 1 second. I highlight, enable highlight. Better node, and I go through here, like that, and then highlightable node, enable highlight. second one then becomes disable. Okay. But then I could have like an event that's being listened, like on the events bus. Now this is a bit separated thing. We could say signal. I'm just gonna copy this. And I'm gonna name it. We're gonna be slapping around IDs. Well, it's not an ID, it's a key. Okay. And then on subscribe, I'd say global events controller. Global events controller, enable highlight on enable highlight. And then we unsub it when we don't need it. And the same thing for disable. Ah. Okay. Unsub. And then here I'd say private void. String name ID. Private void on disable. String name. And this I'm gonna keep it the same name, you know. Enable highlight. And disable highlight. And that's kind of it. This is highlight controller. This is going to live on the level itself. Level. Here I have other controllers that are specific to the level itself. So highlight controller. That's okay. Get node. Yeah. Like this. So that's okay. Now we have to add it at all places. And let's say path finding controller. I'm gonna decide to create a new Resource, no new scene. Highlight controller. That's okay. Highlight controller here. And then all the levels that we have. Now this is gonna be dependent. But what I have to do is drag and drop and set it here. And of course, access it under the unique name. And I'm gonna copy this one. And same goes for the tutorial level. We put it here. And same goes for the normal level. We have like 3 different levels. Well, that's okay. Okay. Now we're gonna have to register these highlights. And I think... Oh, sorry about it. Gotta stretch my back a little bit. But I think it's gonna be best if we modify the quest itself. Like when the quest starts, that I emit event when you have to highlight something. That's gonna be pretty efficient, I say. I mean, it could be efficient. So, in the quest resource, when I have this, reveal quest, start quest, etc, etc. Objectives, probably a bit better on the objectives on themselves. So quest objective, here I have the action name, action text. Okay, if I want to display something regarding the input, it's optional, blah 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 blah. This was like heavily created back in the day, but I'm gonna try to keep it simple. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add like export public bool. Emit highlight. 1 second. So this is by default, it's going to be false, and then I'm gonna say, for example, what I want to emit at the quest objective would be like Godot collections array, and this is going to be like the string name highlight IDs. Like this, and besides this, on the export, public float highlight emit delay. I want to have a control over it. By default it's gonna be 0, so I don't think that I would have to like assign it like this here. because default is definitely 0. But if I have this enabled and I have highlight emit delay, I'm gonna await this amount of seconds before I emit it. At least that's the plan for now. And after that I start iterating over this array and I start emitting all the highlights, and that's it. The other possibility would be that I would be like emitting, like that I would have a dictionary which would have a key ID and the amount of delay. Yeah, that could be even better, like this. Float. But this isn't array anymore, this is Go to Collections dictionary now. So, instead of relying on this additional variable here, I could just say I'm gonna add a comment here. Delays by highlight IDs, or maybe to hell with it. By so I'll make it super obvious what it means. Delays by highlights. Or highlights and delays. Okay. They're paired in together, so that's a thing. But now in the quest controller, before I start an objective, Jesus Christ. Quest changed. Abandon quest. Build runtime quest on there. 1 second. If I have a quest resource. When the objectives change or something happens, apply loaded state. Reveal quest, start quest, continue quest, start objective. Okay, start objective when happens. Huh. Okay. Start objective. Actually, let's call this one now async void. This is resource. How am I gonna deal with timers here? Do I have a timer here? Nowhere, probably. Of course. Async void. Start highlights. And if highlights and delays is a null, and or count equals 0, return. Otherwise, for each, do I have here access to global or level? Global is here. Okay, the global is protected and it's being assigned through init. That's okay. Okay, good thing I have this here. So I could say for each highlight and delay, I could say if item value is more than 0f. Await. What's the syntax for that? Create time or something like that? Yeah, thing like this. So I could say global. And create timer is going to be item dot value. So after this happens, I'd say global events controller, emit signal, events controller, signal name, and under the signal name I would say highlight, enable highlight like this. And the value that I'm gonna pass is gonna be item.key. Right now this is pretty much naive, but to hell with it, we have to start somewhere. So when everything is starting and so on, I just want to highlight, start highlights. Okay. Completely naive. But that's okay. And I think that the coffee is starting to kick in, so that's gonna be interesting as well. You know, emptying the, you know what, time pretty soon. Loading. The brown bar is loading. Okay. Now the quest itself. Quest. Dash, run, destroy, and collect. And if I build it, and of course it's gonna fucking crash, because it always does. Or no? Hey, is that possible? I guess it is. Anyway. Collect quest. I gotta go. I gotta go. The nature's calling, so be right back. The boys gotta go, the boys gotta run. Yeah. back. Okay. Highlight controller. So I start highlights from here and I start emitting them here from enable highlight. And the key itself. That's not bad, but then I start to question. Aha, on enable highlight I do this. I'd have to register nodes here. And I'm not sure if I can have like the exports and so on the interface. I can't recall, I didn't work with them here in Godot so many times. So if I take a look at the I highlight, I wonder if I could add like export, and I would say public string name, highlight ID. Something like this. That's not gonna work. Exactly. What if I take a look at other interfaces that I have? Do I have something? How I bypassed that? I don't. Can't do shit. But what I could... Crying out loud. One second. Exposed components. Yes. Okay. I see how I did it. So I can have like export, not export, but I can have like public string name, highlight ID. What? What about string? Okay. And now in destroyable, here, I can try to quick fix it by implement interface. This one. And I could say, now here export, highlight ID. And now now I either handle this on every single destroyable by itself when they have to subscribe to something, like they would have to register to the registry. I wonder what would be worse for performance. Probably this, if I would have it like on the highlight controller. Probably here. And I'll be listening if something's being added to the tree. That'd be clogging. But if every single eye highlight would be responsible for registering itself, that'd be possible. To denote registry. For example, like public void register. And then I would slap in here string name and node 2D, or node registry, add ID. It's node 2D, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. But here, of course, if ID is empty, oh, Quometer, thanks for reminding me about that. Sorry. Nature called, and then I came back without that in mind. I highlight this one, implement interface. Of course. How's it going otherwise, buddy? All good? Also, just a bit overwhelmed. I'm not sure what to do next, you know, like I want to add like different levels, different bosses, different factions, fix bugs, all over the place. So I'm trying to make the tutorial a bit more friendlier, like applying highlights to certain nodes where the player has to go or with what he has to interact and so on, you know. That's what I'm working on currently. And it seems like the little effort, but yeah, you know, you have to do a lot of things. And you, what you're working on today? Oh, this is highlight ID. Nothing free, that's nice. It already contains the definition of this thing, of course. But then why did it complain? I highlight ID. Probably the get is missing. No more complaints. That's good. private set. Actually, like this. Did you buy something on the Steam sale? Something interesting? Okay, we have this here. Now the next thing. I'd have to match the IDs. Now the destroyable. Has to wire to highlight. So subscribe to events. When it happens. Here. Half-Life Alex. Oh, so you have a VR set. That's pretty cool. And how do you like it? I bet it's a bomb. I mean, it has to be epic. You know what bothered me always in VR? At least I don't know how they solved it. Movement. Do you teleport or how do you move? Do you have to hold button? I saw that they had like one second, so if don't want to do subbing for every single thing. And string name, same thing, different condition. Disable. Okay. Oh, that's cool. Aha. So that's like for people that get sick. In VR, that's why they implemented the teleports. That's interesting. I saw that they had like, you know, not belts, but pads on which you walk. That you could have like special shoes and there's like a belt that keeps you in place. I wonder how affordable are those things and if they're good. Uh-huh. Those things are interesting, I have to say. But VR didn't like really, I mean, Disney ones. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I don't think that the VR, like, you know, got popular so much, right? I think that the hype was much bigger around it and the whole bet on the metaverse and so on. Destroyable 109. What are you talking about here? 109. This one. And of course, so most or less the destroyables are getting there. Something's going on. 1 second. Yo, thanks for the raid, Wiz Raid. How's it going? How was your stream? I bet it was good. I'm just trying to improve here a bit. Burnseye, hello everybody, hello everybody. So peeps, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to make the tutorial a bit friendlier for the players, because I think that I'm slapping too much walls of text, you know, and I don't show enough clearly to the modern audiences. What about you? How was the stream and so on? I just want to show what kind of a highlight effect I want to use here in this case. So if I'm gonna level up a bit quicker now, let me slap them out. Here we go. Come on, one more enemy. And we're at the next level. There we go. Something like this. What I'm planning to do is I want to use like the same shader on the objects, you know, around the world. So for example, go to the stone and do something about it. Step on it. That's what I'm gonna do. And then everything's gonna blink, etc. So this is where I'm currently at. This was added last week, like the red effect. When you get damaged, everything becomes a bit more, you know, reddish. If I'm using the correct phrases here. There we go. No more bad guys. Let's attract a couple of them. Oh, that's good. Learning is always fun. I know that last week it was very popular to participate on that jam. I'm not sure if I recall it correctly, but it was like Juniper or somebody's jam. Mentioning it because a couple of friends that are also usually on stream decided to participate. And the timing of it was pretty good. So I wonder, did you participate in it, maybe? I know that it wasn't like for a very short amount of time, like 2 days. It was for the whole week, if I'm not mistaken. But then they also mentioned that they had like issues with submission because the whole website glitched, if I'm not mistaken. So they couldn't submit the builds in time. So yeah, that was what was going on previous week. Yeah, otherwise, here we're still grinding, trying to improve the core experience and everything for the player. And now that I think about it, I think that I'm gonna really have to implement the analytics as soon as possible to the game. I'm too late to this game. Because I really want to see what happens to the players, who kills them first, and when do they decide that they want to quit the game. Is the tutorial that makes it hard for them, or is a certain type of enemy? Is the first arena too strong? I'm just really out of touch here. You know, when you're playing this and developing it for so long, you really don't have the sense of difficulty anymore. And that's kind of bad. Do they know how to equip everything? Because last week it was interesting. I saw this Spanish or Portuguese streamer. I think they were Spanish or Portuguese. And they didn't know, they didn't level up. I showed like notifications, you know, Max leveled up, Anna leveled up, but they opened the inventory and I displayed only number 1 and 2 probably here, without highlights. But they needed like 40 or 50 minutes to figure out that you can go here and level up stuff. And that was a bit of an eye-opening, so hopefully now these blinking things will make them... No, okay, I really should click here. Oh, he was immortal a bit. You know. Hopefully, hopefully. But yeah. Something's going on. The local void just followed. Thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, and for the weekend I took the time to watch the Cake's development journey. You know, of the Tangy TD. That's pretty cool. Otherwise, did you ever join any jams before that? I personally never. I mean, the private ones that I had with friends, like make a multiplayer game for the local LAN party. That's what we jammed on, but nothing else, nothing serious. And I should probably. Oh, looky, looky. Voltor. I'd like to get this thing. There we go. I think I chose correctly everything. Now we're gonna cut them in pieces in no time. 20 seconds for smallest amount of grass. Okay, we got this, but... At least I think so, hopefully. There we go. Voltor is here. Let me take this beauty, put it in my hands. I'm gonna have Void Sphere, and after that I'm gonna blast them with the Berserker Blast. Let's add some dashes. And let's make our misses a bit stronger. GMTK Gems coming up in a few weeks. That one's huge. Yeah, that's from... What's the dude's name? Mark? Yeah, right? I know that there's like always a video released about that jam. That's pretty huge. So Burnseye, do you want to participate on that one as well? I mean, the game that you presented to me last time, it was awesome. Mind over Magnets. Yeah, that's his game, right? That you control like a little robot and... That one that one looked nice. Making more bows. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Aha! So Wizard says, I joined one jam and it was mildly rough, but did finish at least. That's awesome. The most important part, probably that you finish things. Oh, look at those sinister entities incoming. There we go. Thank goodness she was guarding here. And yeah, let's go with dash. And then I really have to stop playing, because otherwise I'm not gonna finish my tasks for today. Actually, I could go with Dark Hive and with a Poison Bow. Let's get those guys. Spoilers. There we go. Nice one. Yeah, let's do one more dungeon and that's about it. Then hopefully I will be able to start with a little bit more interesting points of interest. Like adding them in between walls. So for example, if you want to get to them, you're gonna have to have like the Berserker Blast rune or something like, I don't know, for example, Fireball or a pickaxe, and then you can tear down the walls. Yeah. Did I miss all the carrots? Let's feed carrots to the bunnies, and we're gonna summon Mr. Simon. One more carrot needed. Hopefully I didn't eat one. Uh-huh. Probably, right? Because it's such a big jam. Team ones are especially well received, I say. Here's another one. Yeah, I'm gonna take this carrot back to bunnies and I'm gonna feed them, so we're gonna summon Mr. Simon the Blue. He's gonna help us defeat the boss, but we're gonna let him die because he drops good loot as well. Let's see. Bunnies! Bunnies, I have something for you. There we go. Friendly fluffy entity incoming, and now look at this madness. The dude's gonna come and he's gonna murder the bunnies. That's the cruel reality. I didn't have time and opportunity to fix this, but yeah. He's a cannibal. Cannibal animal. Let's go. Come on, blue boy. Now, either we're gonna fight Golem or we're gonna fight bunny on bunny violence, exactly. I didn't talk to the dude yet. Glacier. This one is okay. It's a new item. Oh, we can level up Void Rune. And let's go with leveling up Void Rune only now. There can be only one bun, exactly. So now we're dealing like 3 passive magic damage. And if I drop this one down as well. How much do we deal? 3 to 5. So that's passive on hit damage. A bit of improvements here. We could make... You are missing strings. But we can make nailed mine. And a normal mine. And that's about it. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Time to go slay. Now I'm gonna let this unfold as it should, like, you know, in nature. I'm gonna let kill... I mean, they should kill Mr. Simon because he's carrying either bunny boots or bunny ring. And that's pretty powerful. We want to get that. Maybe I should nerf him. Make him less dodgy, because otherwise he's very powerful. But then again, you don't get the opportunity to feed, you know, always rabbits, the carrots, so... Look at that. Hogging up all the experience. Come on, rats, get him! There you go, ratsos. Here we go. Bunny ring. Now this one increases our dash charges, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, actually movement speed and reduces the dash cooldown. So that's powerful. And I got a pleasant surprise for these things. Actually, I'm gonna use a smaller mine. Look at that. Well, that triggered too soon. Why did that happen? There we go. That's a waste of a good mine, but that's just the way it is. Oh, fireball. I think I saw Snip selling fireball as well. Yeah, we're gonna go for level 2 fireballs. That's gonna be awesome. Okay. I leveled up. We can go with electric discharge. There we go. We have decent amount of dashes, so we can zap them quite quickly. She leveled up. Let's... Yeah, I always like to assign like every single point to each one of them. Check this out. Okay. And we got ourselves Golem. Thank goodness he's so slow. You just gotta be sure that the dude doesn't summon his baddies, and that's okay. Oh, look at that. He got stunned. Well, now this is where the problems start. If you aren't patient, those guys are actually the root of all evil. Oh, buddy boy, you gotta eat something. I'm stunned! Ugh. Okay, I'm panicking here now. Let's get the little one away and... no mumbo jumbo stuff. Can I gather enough fury for a fireball? Well, he's pretty much resistant. I missed. Oh, man, oh man. There we go. Berserker Blast level 2. Incoming. That's it, guys. I gotta die. I gotta keep on working. Otherwise, I'm not gonna do anything productive today. So sorry. So sorry about that, but yeah. As you know, Lens of Fury is available on Steam in early access. Pretty much everything you've seen till now is on the live build. If anybody wants to play it or support it. Oh Jesus, now that I'm looking at here, I see like a big ass spider in my room and I'm not happy about it. This is where the problem begins. Because a freaking boar gave me like 1,000 gold. Just a second, I have to take care of the spider. Gotta let the spider bro out. There we go. Okay. So what I saw here is actually that one freaking boar gave me like 1,000 gold. And now the bandits and nobody else is giving me anything. This is a pretty bad distribution of prizes now. These guys aren't gonna give me anything as well. So basically only a freaking boar gives you a thing. That's almost impossible. I'm gonna have to fix that. Yo. Okay. Level 2 Berserker Blast is awesome. I just want to show you then, and then I finish. I'm gonna gather them. You're gonna see like a beautiful, beautiful knockback. Me gusta. There we go. Wanted to die just to get all the experience, you know. Not that I need it. But why let it go to waste? We had issues with subbing and unsubbing before I started. And that's because the highlight ID was a bit different. But now if we want to test these things out pretty well, I actually gotta go to the tutorial itself. And so that's a tutorial level. 1 second. Here, this one. For example, this is craft big leafy tree. Highlight ID, this is the one that's needed. I'm gonna call it the name that it is. We basically only need one. And then the players are gonna complain, okay, what if I go and destroy that tree and this one is still highlighted? You can't really satisfy everybody always. I mean, you could try to, but that's some serious level of polish then. So I'm gonna take this one, apply this one here, like this. And now is this registering itself? I don't believe it is, but what I can do here is I could go to dash run and destroy and collect quest. This one will then have optional, original, no. Where's the highlight? This one, highlights and delays. Delay is gonna be 1 second, or actually 0 seconds. So I added crafting big leafy tree. And then the second one has to be like this one. Damaged crate. Is it? Is the right one? Okay. The highlight ID is gonna stay the same. And in this second one, so this is crafting wooden stick, it's okay. And then the third one is crafting rope. Aha, general here. Where's the highlight? Here. Good. And the delay 0. So that's okay. Now, after init components, I would add like register highlight or something like that. Private void. If highlight ID is null or highlight ID is empty, I return. Otherwise, global level controller highlight level controller. I mean level. Currently loaded level highlight. Register node highlight ID. This. Yeah. And then after init component, I register myself there. Hopefully we'll see some changes, I'm not so sure. I think I'm gonna have to switch to Bossa Nova because this is the playlist that I've been listening for the last week. And this one got a tiny bit boring. Well, Summer Lovely Chill. Also good for now. Okay, let's see if we have any errors. Now we don't. If we talk to Mr. Gotar and we start the tutorial. Okay. I'm looking at on the left side if everything is working. Dash run and destroy to collect. Okay, now dash run. It's highlighting. It's highlighting. I think I'm gonna change the color a bit brighter. It's too much washed out now. It says collect a wooden stick. Cut down a tree to find a wooden stick. There we go. You get one. Then the second one starts to glow. And maybe we could add like unshaded. See, but it's glowing. And that's what I like. We don't have any errors yet, so that's kind of cool. We should make it like flash a bit more on the white. But then when I spawn the new thing, this would have to highlight as well. So this is, you know, it seems like a small thing to do, but then you have to modify like bazillion little stuff. And then return to Gotar and talk to him. Then I would have to highlight. So now I really wonder, do I want to do this? Is the modern player so sorry about that, incompetent that he couldn't read like instructions, you know? That's a sad reality that I think as game developers we are facing, you know. A lot of times people just want to be like blasting stuff, I get that, but you know, as a child, I grew up on Super Nintendo. Sometimes you had to figure things out. experiment a bit, but yeah. Okay. He comes here. And then I would highlight the anvil. But then have to unhighlight it and so on. And how many errors did I get in process? None. At least not for now. Yeah. Exactly. You had to love it. For F's sake, Final Fantasy VII. I had to reboot the game like 10 times on 10 different days before I figured out the control, that the freaking game didn't have mapped controls on the arrows or WASD, but it had a fucking numlock. I mean, not numlock, but you know, numpad for movement. That was that was insane. I would have never guessed it, you know, like no way that you have to move a character with 8, 4, 6 and 2, I believe it was, or 5. Everything was on numpad. But yeah. And the competition is pretty high in the game development, I'd say. So better not be complaining. Better start implementing. In some other games, I know that they have like good effects. For example, that, yeah, some roguelike controls, they have it on numpad. I didn't know that. Really, but I remember it was 1997 when I got that game. You know, a lot of people got the game on the PlayStation. They had a controller and that was it. You know what to do with the controller, but the keyboard, that had like a lot of different extra characters. You know, I didn't know how to change the arrow option, which said like new game and exit. I couldn't go up, or how was it, or down. 0 controls. So yeah, sorry about my whine. But yeah. Okay. If I have this one, highlight, flash. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. And the games themselves were a bit harder, I'd say. Or am I wrong here? At least I think they were harder. Highlight flash material, where I use this one. Just a second. So it's being used in the destroyable only. That's kind of okay, but which one do I use in the player HUD? I know that I made like a separate thing here. Custom label. No. Yeah, right. There was like a steeper learning curve and everything to it. I mean... Ah, this is the one. Okay, level outline text, which material button outline, okay. So it's a separate thing, and then yellow highlight. Yellow, I mean... highlight. If I could write today, that'd be cool. Which games were your favorites? Flachshine. There's like unshaded something, a possibility here. If I'm not mistaken, just a second. Unshaded. 10 arrow trail. Render mode unshaded. That's the thing that I'm looking for. There we go. I think this is going to make it... No, it's not okay. Can it be like that? So the shader type has to be specified first and then the unshaded is okay. I wonder if it's going to blink. Zombie ate my neighbor. Yeah. SNES. I was Super Mario 3 or Super Mario World. That was the one that I played a lot. Then we had like Probotector, that was Contra something. But in Europe we had to like have robots instead of 2 guys. Yoshi's Island. That was a game that I dreamt of like for a long time, and then finally I got it for one Christmas. It was insane. And I remember, you know, like first grade learning to read or something like that. It was funny. You could like have 3 profile slots, and then it said flip the coin, and I read it Philip, which is my name. I was like super happy. They know my name, they know my name. You know. Stuff like that. Well, this seems wrong. Huh. I don't have any special modulates here. But why is it defaulting back to black? What is this? Unshaded blend all. What does it do if I add like 2 of them together? If I blend them. Doo-doo. Okay. Well, it's a bit better, but... Huh. How could I articulate what's wrong with it? One more time. Weird thing, for the weekend it started to recommend me like the cop reality body cams and so on. This is like heavily addictive thing to watch. You know, and I never ever like watched those reality shows on the TV, but on YouTube, I don't know. It just feels different. Well, his highlights are okay. But now I still want to highlight what? A character, if he has to be. But the problem with the character is that he can be kind of knocked over. He has his own material, if I'm not mistaken. Then I have to handle also like the original material, etc. Yeah. That's interesting. So, two things. Probably a bit more. So I need to highlight also like the anvil itself, the character, and the dropped item. 3 things. So all of those 3 things have to be like eye highlightable. Let's go with dropped item first. Dropped item. Here I could say I highlight. Implement interface. Document. Just a second. Here we go. So highlight. Did it put it at the bottom? Enable highlight and disable highlight. That's okay. And this could be exported. If I would have the one in the scene itself, that'd be okay, but here I could do some different things as well. And this is constantly the music becomes one and the same tune, and then it keeps it repeating itself, and I hate that. So back to Bossa Nova we go. Yeah. Imagine being on the beach. Sipping something very cold and nice. Yo Nehes, how's it going? Long time no see. Probably you went far away with the game already. So get... Actually. Highlight ID. Tell me about it, dude. The Europe is burning a bit, huh? Network? You're making it multiplayer? Oh, Jesus Christ. Good luck. Good luck, buddy. That's super cool, otherwise, you know that. Okay. Of course. I wonder one thing. When I drop the item... in the destroyable ore in loot drop component. 1 second. Loot drop component, dropped item. Here I could say assign the highlight ID or something. Yeah, we'll take a look a bit later. Let me just finish these things. Loot drop item ID. Export public. String name. Assign. Actually, I could have like a highlight ID. Like this. And then when I spawn it, like dropped item, when I do this, here, I could simply say, this is before it's being added like there. If highlight ID isn't null, and highlight ID is empty equals false. Dropped item, highlight ID equals to highlight ID. This is how I could do it. And then this implementation would be just simple get and set, and I don't care about it because the spawner is gonna assign the ID, and that's okay. But what the dude has to have is I don't have subbing anywhere. Subscribe to events, huh? Yeah. Okay, private. Actually, if I take a look at the interactable, interactable, this one, also nothing. Subscribe, no, it isn't. Call it private. Subscribe to events. Sorry about bumping everything. Avoid. Unsubscribe from events. From. And somewhere about here we say subscribe to events. That's okay. Public override void. Exit 3. Unsubscribe from events. This is gonna need testing. And we say if highlight ID where is it? Highlight ID. No. Isn't null. And highlight ID is empty. Here then I specify Global level controller, currently loaded level. Highlight controller register node. Highlight ID. This. But this isn't coming from the subscribe, this should be coming from here. Not here, but somewhere about here. Like this. But here, I'm checking the events controller. Enable highlight on enable highlight and unsubbing comes in here. Same thing on disable. Okay, plus plus, minus minus. Kinda looks okay. Kind of. Copying these two things here. But this is the place where I do this. I wonder, has this been added in C# that there could be like a base implementation in the interface for the method? I'm not sure. It could be. And then we have on disable, poor dog is coming and asking me to go outside. She doesn't know that outside there's a hell. What kind of a privileged life she's living. But you should be kind. I think she changed her mind. Clever girl. Okay. Actually, this is just a normal function call. Actually. What the hell am I doing here? I'm passing the ID, but I don't need it. Because the registry controls that. 1 second. Highlight controller. This one is controlling everything, so I don't have to F around with that. I really don't. The only thing that I'm always just have to mess with is this highlight controller, and that's it. And this implementation here. Oh, the boy got carried away. Now this is okay. Kind of. Seems like it. But there's always a big but. I'm gonna save it. Build it. Crash it. Yo. Okay, she wants to go out. Be right back. I bet 2 minutes before she changes her mind and she comes back in. So I apologize in advance because I'm gonna have to probably stand up pretty quick. Oh, Now that I think about it, how the hell do I have this implemented? 000 dash run, destroy and collect. Collect quest, okay. So I emit the highlight somewhere here, up here. But then what do I do? Original actor dialogue states, no, this is regarding the dialogues. Don't need that. But on destroy, I'd like to highlight something. Well, this test level, I know that tutorial itself, I have damaged crates and I have this modified here. I could just simply say here, instead of highlight ID and I do the mumbo jumbo stuff here, I could have also toggle highlight on spawn. That'd be the best way to do it. Because I know that it's going to spawn like the stick here and more things there. But now I wonder, do I want to have like 3 trees here for the player to be messing around with? I'm not so sure about that anymore. Because usually players go and they destroy everything, and then if only this one is highlighting stuff, it means that if they go here and destroy this one first, well, it's gonna trigger, but it's not gonna be highlighted as well. But I'm highlighting this one, so you really have to be like visually impaired that you wouldn't see like a highlighted thing. But you know, when you get complaints like from the player that the slime killed Gotar in the tutorial screen, then you know that they try everything. There was like 30 hits required for slime to kill Gotar, but they still somehow managed to kill Gotar. They didn't kill the slime, I don't know why. And then I just... yeah. I just replied that some people just like to see the world burn. And I gave like Gotar enough health regen or something that he's not being destroyed, you know. Yeah, tutorials are weird and not my strength. Huh. Okay, if we continue, I'm just gonna make a simple boolean dropped item. Now I can have the highlight ID and all this mumbo jumbo and listen to the changes and register and everything, but I could just go with bool highlight on spawn. And by default it's gonna be false. But here what I can do is if highlight on spawn enable highlight, and that's it. At least I think so, hopefully. Now if I go here, build it, check the loot drop component and mark that as highlight on spawn. Yo. That's actually coming from the loot drop component as well. Somewhere here. I have to add this. Yo. Prop passing. Okay, another build. Bloop. Did it build? I don't know, Godot just for strange reason decided that he's not gonna crash today as frequently. That's interesting. Okay, I think this is the correct one. Now, what are we expecting? We get highlighted tree when we come to the tutorial, when the quest begins. And then when we destroy the tree, we also get highlighted item. But wait, before I do this, I can actually do the same thing now for this one, for the crate. Mr. Crate. Loot drop component. Highlight on spawn. So the crafting rope is gonna be flashing. It should be flashing. Okay, dashing, flashing, destroy. We have another one. Pick it up, go here. Destroy this, pick it up. Okay. Boys, we're progressing a bit. I didn't see any significant errors. Now if I do the restart, everything seems to be working. And if I go back and start again, is there something messed up? The hardest thing is that a lot of times, if you change something and if you don't replay the tutorial, it didn't happen like only once that something broke. Now the dude has to be highlighted, probably. Okay. How do you like this effect? around the logo. Does it add a bit to premium quality or no? You know, like watery flamey effect, I'd say. I'm not sure if it's even visible on stream. Thanks! Pioneer, thanks for the follow. Thank you, thank you. Okay. So, we got 4 things already highlighted where the player has to progress. Then the second thing that we have to do is probably make like units highlightable. So the interface, I highlight, and if I take destroyable, I'm gonna implement the highlight ID. And somewhere. So these are signals. Then I have exported values here. Okay, the first one. And the sprite 2D and so on, they can be all the same. I think we're gonna only highlight definitely like the units that are... What did I have here? Enable silhouette and so on. That seems like a dead function. Yep. I can just replace this one. So basically based on highlight, I know that I have like sprite 2D. Do I? But I have like a lot of sprites. And... it's called only one. But then I have like if it's a modular character and so on. So I should kind of handle both things while I'm implementing this. So, there we go. If is modular character. Actually, if unit data resources modular character, and then the return. Actually, it's gonna be shorter, like this. Same thing here. Yo, but I shouldn't set it to null, right? What's my default material? That was the first thing that got me worried a bit. Yeah, it's unshaded. Ay, 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 ay. So I have to store it. I have to store it, no. Be right back, letting the doggy in. Yeah. Okay. I know that I'm tweaking with these things in the animation system. Probably it's gonna be even better if I slap it in the animation. instead of the general unit there. Where is it? Attack animation? No, that's attack. Animation system, I'm looking for you. Jesus Christ. This one. I here have my materials by name. So I have like hit. I could slap in like highlight. Why the hell not? Do I use materials by name? 1 second. Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it definitely that way. So, you know what? I'm gonna undo all of these things in here that I had. Can I just simply reverse it? Yes, I think I can. I can. Okay, undoing it. Come on. Animation system. I highlight. Materials by name. I duplicate them. Huh. This is making a pure copy. Activate material. Yeah, but I have to do it like this. And here I handle all the time if the character is modular or not. And I handle this. What if I have material name null? Okay. Then it provides what? Value. What is value here? So if it's true, it's gonna give you this, otherwise it's gonna give you that. But if it's null, unshaded material. Okay, okay, okay. Good handling already here. So I could do it like that. I can override this one. I mean, implement it. And simply I could say activate material, and I'd say material name, highlight. And disable highlight would get null treatment. Okay, that's the first thing. But it also needs like I highlight ID. So are you sure it's not good? That's interesting. I thought that they have it. I didn't work with it, so I can't comment on it. But the thing was that it seemed like it's tightly integrated with the node system, right? If I am not mistaken. Okay, we fixed that. It's high level API. Basically, if you want to do like high action game or something like that, you have to do low level yourself. Yeah. Oh, by the way, let's take a look at the video the things that you worked on. Let me just mute the music. I see some clown sprites. Awesome. Now, what are you using behind it? You're using Godot or something? I mean, you said it that you're not using it, Godot, or are you using it? That's pretty cool, dude. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Enet and Calvino Giurani. Agree. Great work. Using Enet and RPC. So I wonder how you architected the code. You definitely separate them on the client and on the server, right? Then what do on the client? You probably only display like sprites and so on, right? You don't do anything else. If you get a server call, probably you just move the sprite, maybe show some flashes and so on, and everything is coming from the server then. Or? And the logic that you have implemented only gets run on the server. But then again, how do you prevent somebody from cheating, you know, if you're like, server checks and so on. I would have to take a look a bit at it, definitely. I mean, local co-op, I don't believe it would be that hard, but still I know that the management of the inventory and so on, I would have to decide how would I go with that, if they share the same inventory and so on, you know. Ah, that's good. So, definitely good. Server decides, yes, this can happen. If it can happen, it sends the result back and that's it. Exactly. Okay, I'm back at the animation system where I wanted to enable the highlight and disable it at a certain time. Yeah. I say multiplayer is hard with a reason, you know. With a reason. Absolutely agree on it. Absolutely. Especially if you're early in the development, you know. Early in quotations mark. And that's the best and easiest solution, Calvino. Gerone, definitely. GPT, give me that. Give me multiplayer. Add multiplayer. It's a boolean, you know. Bloop. Multiplayer equals true. Enable highlight. And then in the subscribe events, I say if well, you don't say, Mr. Nehis. It doesn't work that way. Highlight ID or highlight and highlight ID is empty equals false. Two same things. Global events controller, enable highlight plus equals on enable highlight on disable highlight. We go back, minus, minus, two of them, go down. Public void. Fuck it, again I'm doing the stuff that I shouldn't be doing. Why do I keep repeating this pattern? I don't want to do it through here. I mean... do I? No, not currently. Well... hating on summer. So Kavina says the issue is that you are using an engine. If you build your own engine from scratch, it will, trust me. Yeah, yeah. Well, that sounds nice. I must say, Unreal Engine Net is more robust and now they released Iris. Yeah, they had like networking in mind, right? From the core. Oh, Jesus Christ, you guys are frying. Huh? That's brutal. I'm also a fan of a more cold weather, I have to admit it. But you know, if you're in a pool, that's kind of okay. But based on what you're telling me, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, you know. That's just burning. There we go, first crash of the date. Quest objective state changed. Well, why'd you do that? Europe is burning in general and we invest so much money into green energy and it still sucks. Yep. Anyway, peeps. I'm slowly gonna have to jump off. Cook gonna turn the vacuum cleaner on. Still gonna work offline a bit. But let's be good bros and let's rate Mr. Triple Jump Games. Okay? Didre Chwish, where I'm from, it's 45 minimum in Somerset. Oh, Jesus Christ. Dude. But if you have a good air conditioning, you know, air conditioner. Oh. Exactly. Okay, peeps, let's raid the dude. Bye.